All right, so good evening. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, and I'm here tonight with Dragon Hour with, now you have to say it because I'm like, is it Jar? Is
It's
that how you
J, just like the letter J.
Oh, J. You see, I've got this whole, because I'm European, I still think it's French. I
I mean,
did that
lots of
with,
other people pronounce it different ways, but that's the way I heard it, so that's the way I say it.
yeah,
And it's
because I did that.
Sanskrit. J-A-I is Sanskrit for victory.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. So I did that with Viviana. I call her Vi, but she's V. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, so just J,
just J.
just J. So that's good. And then you chose that name, did you?
No, I did not.
So tell,
What
right. So tell us,
happened?
yeah.
Yeah, there's a story behind that. What happened was that I was just starting to expand and wake up, and my guru had just come into my life. This was in 2011, and I was doing a lot of breathing work, conscious connected breathing.
Yeah.
And my breathing teacher said, "Oh, have you gotten your spiritual name yet?" And I said, "No." And so it came through my guru, Babaji. He told me that my spiritual name was Jay, and then further, it's the name of my soul. And it means victory because I finally have victory in my life where I've had a really difficult, hard life. So it's very
Yeah.
symbolic for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So just before we came on, we were chatting and then we got going down the rabbit hole, but we were talking about the Akashic records and
Mhm.
you saying, I just found my soul name as well, which just blew me away because it's Gwendolyn Lee. And anybody that has been following me, Merlin has been in my life for a long, long time, many years. And his wife is Gwendolyn. And it was as clear as anything when I asked for my soul name. I got Gwendolyn Lee.
Oh, how cool.
With the Merlin has told me that I've been his wife, I've been his scribe, he's been my dragon, I've been his dragon.
Yeah.
But I literally I've got goosebumps now when I heard
I
that.
got
Like,
goosebumps too when you said
no
that.
wonder my name's Gwendolyn Lee. It was
Yeah,
that.
when you
Yeah.
say that, I got goosebumps all the way
Yes.
down to my
I
feet.
know, isn't that weird? But it was like that's when you connect with your that deep, you've connected with your soul.
Hmm.
Like it's just, I mean, I've only just touched that. I'm just learning the Akashic
Yeah.
records, but it's like, whoa, mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah. So my
So
legal name is Monica,
yeah,
Monica. But about 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, I don't do time. I don't do linear 3D time. So it was, a few years ago, I moved from California to Florida. And I thought, oh, I'm coming out of the closet. I'm not hiding who I am anymore. So when
yeah,
I moved to Florida, I told everybody my name is Jay. So I don't,
yeah,
people, yeah. So I gave up my whole Monica identity, left that back in California, and started a whole new ident. I jumped on a new timeline, and I thought, you know what? I'm Jay, and I'm gonna embrace it, and that's my name. I mean, on my
that's cool.
license, it still has, my
Yes,
birth name.
yes, yeah.
But yeah, it was so easy to move, and everybody you meet, you just tell them, Jay,
My name's
my
Jay.
name's Jay.
Yeah, that's right. It's yeah, I think that's interesting. Um, so what prompted you to move to Florida from California?
Well, I had the opportunity to move, and I had been wanting to move out of the town where I was living, and my higher self, which I believe when I access my higher self and ask questions, I am accessing my Akash, even though, like we were
Yeah,
talking, we're both, going deeper in that. So I wanted to I was living in Northern California near Lake Tahoe. I wanted to move to Mount Shasta. My higher self wasn't me, and I wanted to move to Crestone, Colorado, again for spiritual reasons, and my guru has an ashram there. Or I was looking at Hawaii because of Lemuria and how I felt when
yeah,
I lived in Hawaii. So I had to come to Florida on business. And then when I got home, I was going to drive up to Shasta and look at the house there. The day I got home, that house sold. Then the house I was looking at in Crestone sold. Then Hawaii was shut down. This was during the planetary pause,
right.
that we had a few years
Yes.
ago. So I couldn't even get to Hawaii to look at, buy, move, anything there. And Florida, where I did not want to move, and I had a house here up for sale, it didn't sell.
Oh.
So then
And
I'm like going, oh, okay, I get it. You close that door, you close that door, you close
Mhm.
that door. And I'm supposed to move to Florida, even though, I let go of my ego. I surrendered my ego and I said, okay. So I moved to Florida. At first, I didn't know why I was here. Now I know more. Florida is very connected to the Atlantean energy.
Right.
So it's very much Atlantis. And I went to Bimini, which I didn't
Mhm.
know anything about Bimini, except for I was going there to swim with the wild dolphins. And that was,
Mhm.
I'd say, like another huge, huge awakening for me. The dolphins
Right.
activated me, and I started remembering, and I've had like 28 timelines in Atlantis. I've only had 4
Mhm.
in Lemuria. So I guess they wanted me, and I didn't think I had any Atlantis. So all the Atlantis stuff started coming back to me. And, I had other timelines in Bimini during Atlantis, is where
All
I
right.
lived. And
Interesting.
so, yeah, I feel very
And
connected to the Bahamas and Bimini
yeah.
because of Atlantis. And the southern part of Florida, like down by Miami and the Florida
Mhm.
Keys, which I'm
Please.
about
Yeah.
3 hours from there,
Yeah.
that's all used to be part of Atlantis.
Oh, that's probably why I've had this yearning to do Florida Keys.
Yes,
Yeah, a friend of mine
very
moved.
much Atlantean energy down there.
Yes, yes. I was like, so I had a friend move down there a couple of years ago, and I drove down with her. We took a 5 day road trip, girls' road trip. We'll take our time, and I kept saying to her all that time, like, the Florida doesn't appeal to me, but I have this sort of thing about I'd love to do the Florida Keys,
Yeah.
but it makes sense now, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
So that's when I woke up to the golden energy, and I remembered that that was the work I was doing in Lemuria and Atlantis, but more in Atlantis just because I've had more timelines there.
right.
And Atlantis was the golden age. It was
Yes,
very, and
yeah.
um, I got the information that I was a queen in Atlantis during that time. My name was Zatara.
Oh,
And I worked with the golden energy and with the whales and with the dolphins and doing DNA and light body work.
oh, right. Yeah. And
So I remembered all that.
is
Huh?
that where the light language behind you comes from? Or
Yeah, so I've been doing light language for a while, but I kind of haven't scribed it. And this was what came through after a group session I did with my VIP group. And I'm just calling them, they're just golden light codes. And I've
codes?
channeled, gosh, 50 or 60 of these golden light codes. And what my team has told me, mostly Kui Lang, that's my golden dolphin, is that each code is an activation for a different strand of DNA. So I have 36 codes for 36 strands of DNA, and then 13 codes for the 13 light body activations that
Oh,
I've been doing with my VIP group.
oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So talk more about, so you've got a VIP group. Um,
I did, and it's called the Golden Avatar Light Body Program, and that is what happened to me. It's just my experience. I started
right,
working with the whales and dolphins to get my certification, and that was like I wanted the dolphin part. I had already been working with the dolphins energetically, with some violet dolphins that are from my home planet, Keviananda.
right,
And so I thought, oh, I can get certified in this. And so I went to get certified. It's a whale and dolphin energy light medicine. And so
right.
you do use the light and the angels and the
Makes sense.
whales and the dolphins. And in as part of the school, we activated the first 12 layers of DNA or first 12 strands of DNA and 12 light body activations. And I was getting ready to go to Bimini in September, and this was about June. I got a message from my golden dolphin, Kui Long. He says, you need to activate all 36 strands of your DNA. And I went, oh, wow, okay, what? And then he's like, and you need to do it all before you go to Bimini. And this was like the middle of July. And I'm like, what? How am I going to do? I had the first 12. I needed to do the next 24 strands. So I just was out in my pool floating all day, and I was just doing as many
Great.
activations as my body would accept. And I got them all done before I went to Bimini, like Kui Long told me to. And then what happened in Bimini is I got the activation for the golden avatar light body. And that was the work I was doing in Atlantis. And so that's
Oh,
the work I'm supposed to be doing with people here. Anybody
right.
who wants to, that was in Atlantis and had this special golden DNA,
Right.
can have it now.
Yes, because we're waking up as
Mhm.
we're ascending, like we're waking up. And that's what's happening to a lot of people is they're suddenly getting this much deeper knowing, remembering, a lot of people remembering Atlantis, absolutely. I mean, yeah, or people say, oh, I know I was there, but it's like they don't know how many times, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
certainly, I used to have this like I only had two lifetimes, and then I've suddenly realized there was more than that. Um,
Um,
and
it's my
again, I've had
understanding that as you expand,
and right,
more and more layers get
yeah,
lifted. And so then
yeah,
you'll go, oh, wait, there's so much more for
yes,
the same
yeah,
thing. So, like where you
yeah,
thought you had two timelines, that's what you were ready for to hear at that time. So then,
right,
as you've expanded and grown and your vibration has gone higher and your frequency has gone higher, then they're
mm,
like, oh, now we
yeah,
can
right,
give her
yes,
more, more,
yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as well, I know that I've had also I also was in Egypt and had many lifetimes in Egypt, but always in royalty. I was always a very strong female queen. But I did have one where I can remember seeing me now. I did a past life regression, and I was like banned from the city, and I was sent out into the desert, like sent out into the desert to die. And all I can remember is like it was hot and I was thirsty,
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, a lot of my memories, and I think that happens to a lot of us that are waking up. We had some royal ties
Yeah.
to whatever it is that we're connected to. Like you said, you were queen,
Yeah. Like I
because
checked
women are very powerful. I mean,
Lemuria, I was just a priestess, but and I'm also a Palladian grandmother. So I've gotten, that's one of the things I love to do. I'm a quantum intuitive energy healer and very claircognizant. And so it was my goal to figure out all of my timelines, right? So I would just sit there all day and talk to my higher self and go, oh, okay, what am I? Where was I? Who was I? What did I do? So it's fun. I love going down all of those rabbit holes.
yes, yeah, yeah, that's good. And so you activate. So when people or people find you that
Yeah,
need that activation.
I offer just regular energy healing if they want that. We work with the whales. We do whale healing and clearing, which
Mhm.
is lovely. And like the whales are the Akashic record keepers of the planet,
Yes,
and all the Akashic records are stored in the water molecules. And so
right.
the whales are like the masters at the Akashic records and at healing. They are the ancients on this
Yes,
planet. They were here
very.
first.
Yes.
So I call them the master healers. They're the shamans of the ocean.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so we offer that session where they come in and they clear you, they heal you, they activate you, they go into all of your timelines. So they work in
Mhm.
all dimensions, directions, and time. It's a magical experience. And then also with the whales, I do light body activations work
Mhm.
so that it's all for ascension. The whales are here to help us with ascension. And the
Right.
more you can activate your light body and hold more light, the more your vibration and frequency is going to go up. And then that's going to bring you closer to ascension. And
Right.
ascension isn't a place where we're going to go,
Yeah.
it's a consciousness, it's
Just
something
yeah.
within.
Yeah.
And then with the dolphins, I do, healing work, but the biggest thing that the dolphins do is DNA work. And we
Um,
can recalibrate your DNA, and we can also activate your strands of DNA. And I believe that your DNA strands are infinite. A lot of people believe, it's just the 12 strands.
yeah.
No, I've already activated over 100 strands of my DNA. They tell me to keep going and keep going and keep going. Um, and your DNA your strand of DNA is big enough to go around the whole
Yeah.
planet. I mean, yeah. So you've got even when I'm doing energy work, for example, I had an injury to my leg. So I went ahead and recalibrated all the DNA in my muscles and my fascia and boom,
Um,
then the pain went away. So when I do a
that's
healing
yeah.
session, I connect to that person and their energy. And then what their higher self tells me they need to heal. I hold space for them to heal. You know, what do you need? Sometimes I do light language. I work with light. I work with the angels. I've kind of developed my own little thing. If the dolphins know if they need to come in, and they come in, or the whales, or the
Yeah,
dragons.
dragons.
Um, my very first dragon came to me, back in 2011 when I was first going through that one awakening. And she's a cute little fairy dragon, and I love her to death. And her name is Kakamoku. And she's a little dragon because my home planet is Kevianunda, and my soul star family that I identify with the most are the Netabarulises, and we're the golden ascended masters, so more of the golden energy,
Oh,
for
yeah.
me. And we're only 22 inches tall.
Oh, right. So, no, yeah.
So she came to me as the little fairy dragon because, I'm not very big when I leave my body.
I know. Because I think when people think dragons, they think huge. But you're right, not all dragons are. I learned not so long ago that my dog was actually a small dragon, and
Oh,
it was my guardian dragons that were actually like they were chasing it because I'd taken him out for a walk. And they were like, "Why have you? What are you doing with that dragon? You're restraining a dragon." And I'm like, "No, this is a dog." And I was trying to explain what a dog was like, and they kept saying to me, "No, he's the dragon.
dragon.
He's
Yeah.
the small dragon." And it was, and then earlier this year he was sick,
Oh.
and a few people asked if they could do some healing, and they came back and said, "Oh, he's a dragon." And the reason he was sick, he'd taken on too much.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
told them that. He's like, "Okay, I've been like doing way too much work." But it was funny to have your dragons tell you your dog is a small dragon. Now I've heard that often cats are more similar to dragons, but a lot of people know their dogs are as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So, and then the second dragon I started working with, his name is Whitey, and he's just a big, kind of grayish white dragon, and he's my transport. I call him my transport dragon. This was before I activated my Merkaba. And so I would go, flying on both of them, but whenever I astral traveled or went to my home planet or go, to the new Earth, um, which exists in a different dimension,
yeah.
I would always, or if I go to the inner Earth, I was going to the inner Earth a lot. And I'd always be on Whitey, and Whitey always, gets
Oh,
me to where I need to go safely. And here in the third dimension, they're also very protective. And like when I drove from California to Florida, I have a third dragon that I work with too, but all three of them were like flying point over my car the whole way here. And I was out in public once, and somebody tried to, oops, here comes my cat. Speaking of cats, you can make
oh, you cats, yeah.
appearance. um, I was at a public function, and somebody tried to steal my purse.
Oh, and the dragon stepped in.
The dragons, like my little fairy dragon, she went nuts. And that's the first time I've ever seen her be aggressive or mean to somebody. I couldn't figure out what was going on. She wanted to knock them across the room with her tail. And I'm like, no, 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 you can't do that. And then afterwards, I found out, oh, yeah, these people were messing with my purse because they had moved it 4 or 5 chairs down the road from where I was sitting. And I
Right,
was like, oh, that's why they got mad. And that's why they were
right.
protecting me.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. So I was talking about how, like, whenever I have to drive on the highway, I just ask the dragons to, be around me just to protect. And I can't tell you a number of times. I live in a state where they're crazy drivers,
Oh, Florida is
and
too.
Massachusetts, like you can always guarantee the outside lane. You come to an exit, somebody in the outside lane will suddenly go, "Oh, I need that exit," and just go
And just
across
go,
4 lanes,
yeah,
like. And I can't tell you a number of times, like literally somebody's missed me like that much.
yeah,
So this
yeah.
particular day, I completely forgot. I jumped in my car because I was running late, and I got on the highway, and I'm like, "Oh, dragons! I need your protection." And this, so I landed up with the dragon sitting on top of my car and going like this, going, wee, and he had his tail all the way around, and it was like an hour's drive, and all I could hear was wee. But
Yeah.
then when I got there, they were like, we're just going to hang out here. We'll wait for you. So I went to this conference and they did the same on the way back. They were just there to protect me, but they had so much fun. And I kept thinking, I wonder how many people can see this huge dragon on my car with its tail wrapped around going, wee.
Okay, so that's interesting because when I was at this, it was a concert. It was Simrat, one of my favorite mantra singers, was at her concert. And the girl that was sitting next to me, which I didn't know her, I had just met her that night. She's like, "Oh yeah, I see your dragons," and she could
Oh,
see
see
them.
them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
See,
like, "Oh, can you really?" And she's like, because they kept making me laugh because they were like going up into the rafters up above, the lights, and they were doing all this crazy stuff. And she's like, "Yeah, I can see them."
yeah. I have dragons that like to tell what I call like sort of like knock knock jokes. And
Oh,
every now and again, they remind, I've got two sons and they remind me when they were younger, they come up with those silly like jokes and then they're like falling over because they just like that they laugh at their own jokes, right? So it is interesting because I didn't see my dragons when I first and also because I connect to collectives, I don't always see a particular dragon.
mhm.
And I think a lot of people get worried sometimes, even, and it's like anything, like not all of us are meant to see. You can feel dragons. You
Yeah,
can, I mean, I used to get like that glimpse up the side of my, like, oh, is that what? And it wasn't until, so you're talking about inner earth. I
yeah.
went on a journey to inner earth because I have a connection with the Garthians, the inner earth people. I know I had some lifetimes there, and my dragons had taken me there on a meditation. And when I went on this meditative journey, two of them took me to the portal and brought me out into inner earth, and that's where I met all of my dragons. They were like, "Where have you been? We've been waiting for you." And they were
So you have a collective though.
they have this collective of them that
Mhm.
actually live in inner earth because they have quicker access to the galactic realms. So they
Oh,
like
okay.
because it's so I did some work with Dr. Lisa Thompson, who's she does all the galactic stuff. She actually lives in Hawaii,
I really
and
don't know who she is.
I did her 12-week course where we connected each week with a an ET or a planet and what our memories. So I had a lot of memories of living on all these different planets. But it was when we did Inner Earth that I was like, wow, this feels really like home. And that was where the dragons came and said, this is where we are. This is where we live. We're your dragons and we live here.
How exciting.
Yeah. So that was the
Yes.
first time I'd really seen them because they
Yeah, they're
came
cool.
really, really close up and they were like multicolored. And like I told you earlier, they'd given me the Crayola palette. So it makes sense now when they were literally multicolored and they wanted me to look in their eyes. So it was like really beautiful meeting them like that.
And then the first time I went, oh, so part of the whales and dolphins is like I work with violet dolphins and the regular gray dolphins, and I work with the gray humpback whales and cosmic white humpback whales.
All right.
But after my Atlantis awakening to the golden energy, and then, the golden dolphin came to me in June
Yes.
of that year. His name is Kui Long. He's my best friend and guide. So the VIP program I was doing for the Golden Avatar Light Body, we only work with the golden dolphins, the golden
Yes.
whales, and the
Yeah. Yeah.
golden dragons and the golden energy. And so it's just a little bit of a different vibration and frequency, and
Yeah.
their activations are a little bit different. And so the first time I went to the golden planet, I saw this big, huge gold dragon. I mean, he was so majestic and amazing and big and shiny. And I was just like, oh, that's the first time I met him. His name is Sathor. And I thought he was guarding the golden planet. Little did I know that he was another one of my dragons.
Oh, right. Right.
And then I think four more dragons have come to me. So they've joined my Golden Avatar Light Body team. And then they work in tandem with the whales and the dolphins. And they're
Yes,
amazing, which I
yeah,
think didn't you come to one of our events and you
yes, I
had the
did.
whales and the
Yes,
dolphins
whales
and
and
the
dolphins.
dragons? Yeah.
Yes, and the dragon. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's interesting. Everything I know about dragons, they've told me, and it's taken me. I've done a lot of different things, not knowing why I've done them, but
Mhm.
now they're all coming together. Like I
Yeah.
didn't understand why I did certain things, and while you were talking, I remembered when I first did Reiki. I used to see, well, I used to call it Egyptian gold, but I would always, when I was working on people, get this beautiful golden energy. And because I connected to Egypt, that's what I used to call it, Egyptian gold. But I think it's this new earth, that I was seeing back then, like 30 years ago, but it was this different, a gold that you can't see anywhere else.
Yeah, it's hard to explain it to other
It
people because
is,
the colors that I'm seeing, I just tell them they do not exist here on Earth. They just
right,
don't. And so I can't explain it to you. I can only tell you what it felt like and what it looked like.
right,
And then when you were talking, so I know, again, yeah, all I know is from the dolphins and whales is what I learned in whale school, but what they tell me, I channel for them. And then
right.
the dragons, just, oh yeah, just what they've shared with me. And I think they were mostly there to bring me joy and happiness because I used to love just go flying with them. Let's go flying.
Yes, yeah.
And where was I going with that?
But
Oh, when Atlantis fell and sunk, like I know that
yeah,
one of not every, a lot of the Atlantis was big. Everybody kind of went in different places, but I know that one group of people went to Egypt. They left,
yes, yes, I did read that.
so
Yes, yeah,
Egypt has a lot of Atlantean energy, and
yes,
then yeah, the gold energy
and
again.
yeah,
And I think it was 777. That was 2023, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I was doing a group meditation, and what I got that day is that the golden light came down to planet Earth and anchored here on planet Earth and is here permanently. And we
yeah,
have entered the golden age.
age, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think you're seeing that with a lot of people are talking about the golden age
Yeah,
is
and so now
we're
it's
in,
that's been about a year and a half ago. Now, then I didn't hear anybody talking about it. Now everybody's talking about
everybody's
the
talking
golden age.
the
Yeah.
golden age, the golden thread, or the different. I think people see it differently. The gold. I certainly saw it when, again, going on meditative journeys. I've seen like doorways where there's a lot of light language, and I don't vocalize it, but I write it, and I certainly do it with my hands. Then I suddenly, when I started to allow myself to do it, I kept thinking, this looks like familiar, but it's almost like it's sort of Sanskrit. It's like some of what, and then you notice the more people share it, it's like, oh, look, you can see that people are writing the same thing,
Same
like they're like
codes.
same
Yeah.
codes.
Yeah.
And so I always ask my dragons, probably like you do with the whales, and because people were going, well, I write it, but I don't know what it means. So I said to the dragons, if I write this, can you interpret it? And they were like, of course you can.
Yeah.
So I did light language down here, and then they translated it on this side.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. I'm gonna have to ask my dragons to do that
Yes,
for
ask them.
me.
But that's what people forget. And, so everyone, it's not complicated. Like, I
No.
mean, literally, they say, we're this far away from you,
Yeah.
right? And they're sitting there going, we're here. It's like our angels, they often sit there going, why aren't you asking for help? And,
Mhm.
people think that you have to do all this complicated stuff. It's like,
You don't.
no, you just have to say, I need help. Or,
Yep.
I mean, the dragons tell me,
Help me,
we call this
or
by
hello,
color.
come closer. I
Yeah,
like to say
dragons
that.
come and help me. Right. But everyone thinks that, and
Be
not
my
every
friend. Will
dragon,
you be
right?
my friend?
Yeah. Not every dragon has a name. And some
No.
dragons have names that we can't even understand.
Hmm.
So they allow us sometimes, because we're human, to give them names. But
Yeah.
it's like, but they really don't, none of my dragons really care whether they're collectives or not. But I did have, when I was doing my Akashic records, I met my Akashic dragon, and
That's
he
interesting.
and he had a very clear, very clear name for me, his name. So I saw these two valleys and a lake, literally. So the lake was between the two in the valley, and my Akashic dragon came out of that, and it was this beautiful golden yellow feathered dragon, huge. And when I asked him his name, all I kept getting was between two lakes, between two lakes. But then he gave me, it's sort of a French name, I think, Grand de Terre, de Tour, which means between valleys. So,
Oh, how
and I usually I
cool.
get a name. I'm terrible with remembering these things, so I have to write them down.
I have to write all of mine down too. And if I don't
Yeah,
work with them all the time, I forget. I'll be
especially
like, I'm
when you
sorry, I
channel,
forgot your name.
right? Especially when you channel, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I don't know what I channeled, but it was really interesting that he was very specific about because all first of all I heard
So
in
what does he
English.
do? Does he help you when you go into the Akashic records or?
Yes, yes, you can use it's one another way to go in is to go on your dragon. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the
see, so I
person that
have
I'm
a
learning it from,
dolphin. I have a
dolphin.
dolphin and a whale
Yeah,
that are my Akashic record friends.
right.
And like the whales were teaching me how to go into the Akashic records through the water.
Yes. So I've done that with somebody else where we went through water and came up into temples. Um, and then that would be sometimes like, where are we? And oftentimes I will get take. So I've done a lot of work in the galactic realms, and sometimes they just like take me. Just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and I've
I
got,
have a little recorder and I keep it
yeah,
next to me because a lot of times for me when I'm channeling, um, I don't like to like a lot of it's at night when I'm meditating or something. So I don't like to like get up, turn on the lights, get a pen and a piece of paper, right? So I just have this little recorder
that's a good idea.
and I keep it right next to me. And so then if I'm having an experience, I just kind of try to vocalize it out loud. And then
Yeah,
if I'm channeling, I just let it come through. And
yeah.
then that works real good, but I have hundreds and hundreds of recordings and I
Oh,
haven't
you have,
transcribed them all.
right. Or I tend to like try and write stuff down, even if it's in the dark. And then I look at it the next day and I'm like, I have no idea what.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you don't have your little recorder, you know, I sometimes do meditation. So I have my phone. So I'll turn on the recorder on my phone and
Oh, that's
record
a good
whatever's
idea.
coming
Yeah.
through.
I
But I
often
like the
use my
little,
notes. Yeah, I use on my phone, I use the notes because
yeah.
I'll suddenly get something. I'm like, oh, I won't remember that. And I have to sit down and because
Yeah.
I'm channeling something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I
I
always
don't,
keep a pen and piece of paper next to my bed anyways. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, but
right. I
that's
know.
mostly how I do most of my channeling is
Yeah.
sometimes I've just started transitioning to writing. Zatara, she loves to write and she does poetry. And
Oh,
so I
see.
feel
All
it
right.
coming
So you've
through and
done
I'll
it.
write it.
Right. That's
Yeah.
interesting. You've done it the other way. A lot of people. So I didn't even know I was channeling. I used to say I did automatic writing. And while I was doing the writing, I would often ask, well, who is this? And then at the end, they would sign off. And I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Google it.
Yeah.
But you've done it the other way. And then
Yeah. Well, the
it was,
whales taught me to channel. So it was part of whale school.
um,
We had to connect with the whale, and then all of a sudden I started channeling and hearing them. And then I'd be like, wait, am I really hearing the whales or is it
you know,
me? And then I would look back at what I wrote and I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I don't use those words and I don't talk that way. So I
no,
do know it was the whales. So the
right.
whales, I didn't start channeling, they activated that gift in me.
Yeah.
And so that's when I really started, you know, and yeah, I know that when I'm channeling, because this is not how I talk or,
I
you
know, and I have the same. I when I channel, like I know when it's Merlin because he does very old English, and will often say, I'm as old as dirt, and I'm surprised he hasn't shown up yet, because he usually he likes it. And if I start talking about like when I use so every I post on my Facebook page every day, I pull some cards, and he's been showing up like 3, 4 days in a row, but he will speak a specific way. But
Mhm.
oftentimes I will get downloads that I write, And I used to have to do them by hand. They've allowed me to transition to do them on the computer, because
Oh, okay.
I used to only be able to get them if I wrote, and it could be
Mhm.
4 or 5 pages long, and then I'd have to sit. And so often now I can quickly either put it on my phone and then transfer it to a document. But it was, I would read it and I would not remember half of it. I mean, I'd
Mhm.
write 4 pages and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I remember the beginning and I vaguely remember that. And it isn't how I speak.
Mhm.
Oftentimes you get like, you can get an idea who it is by, they often call you dear ones, or, sometimes they like to start off by telling you who they are. But it was, for me, it was somebody bringing it to my attention that I wasn't just automatic writing, because
That
I
you were in
was
the
connecting
Akashic
with
records and you
archangels.
were
Well,
channeling.
it was
Yeah.
archangels, and I would
Oh,
be getting messages from the archangels, and they would tell me who they were. But one of the best one I had was, I got this really beautiful message, and I kept thinking, I was asking, who is this? And at the end, she said, "Oh, I'm Gwendolyn. I'm Merlin's
was
wife."
that your Gwendolyn?
Yes, but this was years before I just realized that that's my soul name.
So is it,
But
I have goosebumps again. Isn't
yes,
it
so
cool how it
I'm
all comes
I know
together
I'm
in a
writing this
complete
message,
circle?
and then she said, "I'm Gwendolyn," and she spelt it the Welsh way and said, "I'm Merlin's wife." And I remember sitting here going, Merlin has a wife. So I Googled it, and it said Gwendolyn, the way it's spelled, was Merlin's wife. And I was like, wow. And she actually told me that she walks with me every day. This makes more sense. Like I told you, I just learned my soul name is Gwendolyn Lee. And she has told me that I walk with you every day and I hold your hand. I'm with you every day. I don't always speak to you because Merlin speaks to you, but I'm with you every day. So I'm thinking this is like my soul. Like the more that as I'm talking, I'm going, oh my goodness, that makes so much more sense now. But I was blown away by the fact that the message I got said I'm Gwendolyn's wife, and when I Googled it, it was true.
Isn't that amazing when that happens?
Yes, yeah, that's always fun. I think that's the fun part about channeling, um, is that you don't always know what you're
So now
getting.
Sophia's here. She has to say
Oh,
hi too.
how many cats do you have?
Two.
Just two, two. Beautiful cats. Yeah.
Sophia is a Lyran goddess.
Lyran's my other
She's a
planet.
golden Lyran.
Yes,
Golden, she's a
that's my other,
golden lion.
yes.
This is her first timeline on Earth. I had a contract, an agreement with her from when I was on Lyra, that the first time she came down, she would come to me and I would take care of her because she's such a tender soul being here the first
Yes,
time, you know?
it's a
Yeah,
bit of a shock.
yeah. And then the
Yeah,
other one, her name right now is Shiva, but she has the soul and the energy of Shiva in her.
right.
And this soul or energy has been with me since I was a little girl. And I believe it always incarnates for me as a cat. And this is her seventh body with me in this timeline that she just
She's
keeps. Yeah. Yeah.
showing up. Yeah,
So my cat passed away in August last year, and I thought, no, that's it. It's just going to be me and Sophia. And I heard, get another cat, get another cat, get another, and it just keeps going until you're like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
enough
yeah.
already. So I looked on Pet Finder and didn't see anything. It, didn't find anything right away. It was about a month. And then I heard really strong one day, get a cat. Because I'm like, no, I'm not going to get a cat. Get a cat, get a cat. And that little, monkey, just wouldn't stop. So I got on Pet Finder. I saw her. I knew instantly that Shiva had gone into her from the cat I lost, 3 or 4 years
Yeah,
ago. And went into her, and I had to have her. I mean,
right.
that soul's coming back to me. I can't say
Right.
no.
So I know. And I think it's fascinating how, I at one point I had 5 cats.
Oh,
I
did you
now
five? The
Yeah,
most I've had is three.
5 cats and 3 dogs.
Oh my
I now
gosh.
live in a condo. I'm restricted, and my kids wouldn't let me have that many animals anymore. But it was just like they kept showing up, right? Like I didn't go and
Yeah.
find them. They came and found me.
Yeah.
So my ex-husband used to say, if one more cat walks down that driveway, I will shoot it. And I would like, because he literally, they would come and knock on the door, right?
Yeah.
And then after I was divorced, like cats would just show up, right? And my vet used to say, well,
Did
I
anybody call you the crazy cat lady?
yes, my kids were convinced that I was going to become the crazy cat woman because I wasn't going to say no, because anytime anybody said, I've got, so I landed up rescuing for that reason, because people know that I've got this, well, for dogs and cats. I have a friend who will call me and say, or message me and say, I was just thinking of you. It usually involves an animal. So she fosters adults with disabilities, and one of her clients, the aunt, had died suddenly, and she had 3 cats. And the minute she said 3 cats, I'm like, I'm not having 3 cats. And she said, no, there's one in particular that I know you'll be good for, because she'd survived cancer, she'd had her leg amputated,
Oh,
and she said, and she had survived, right? She was a year post surgery, she was clear of her cancer. And I'm like, oh, the poor thing, she deserves, a few more years, right? If she survived that. So I
yeah.
acquired her, and she had never been outside. She'd always been an indoor cat, and she became very curious about outside, but she couldn't go very far because she only had 3 legs. So she like started, and she would lie on our patio and just like in wonder. And I was seeing it through her eyes. It was very interesting. Like,
Oh,
she's
how
seeing
special.
birds, and she had the wind, and then she got curious about this grass.
Now
And
they're both on my lap.
yeah,
Like they fit 2 cats on my lap
uh, yeah,
at the same time.
they want
Okay, now they're
attention.
going. I love
I
you
know.
guys, but not right now.
It's when they walk across your keyboard and like disconnect you. It's
Yeah. And
yeah.
I was trying to paint the other day, and Sophia wanted to be on my lap. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? Because I don't like to make a move. How am I going to paint with her on my lap? And it wasn't working. And finally,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I know you said that you were going to you thought of doing like a meditation or an activation.
yeah, I wanted to do a gold light activation.
Sure.
And this will work for anybody watching us live or watching the replay.
Yeah.
You want me to do
Yeah.
it now?
Well, I would. Yeah, we can. We
How
were.
are we doing on time? I don't have my glasses on. I took them off,
That's
so I
right.
don't know how much
We're at
we have.
7:40, nearly 7:50. So,
Okay.
we can go, we don't have, whenever we're ready to end. But is there anything else that you want to share about, have you got a website?
I do. I have a website. My website is www.Jays Angel Light. So that's JAISANGELLIGHT.com. And I also have a Facebook page. I have a free Facebook group called The Golden Awakening. Anybody's welcome to join, and we talk about dragons and whales and dolphins and golden energy and the golden awakening. Yeah, what did I say? The Golden Awakening is my Facebook group.
Golden Awakening is your
Yeah,
Facebook page. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
is my
Yeah.
Facebook
I know
group. It's my Facebook group. My Facebook page is Jay's Angel Light, and then my personal one is under my name, Jay Monica
oh,
Grundle.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm in.
So
Yeah.
I've been working with the gold light, and I know that's part of my soul purpose and mission. And so what I'd like to do is do a gold light activation for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Because so just so everybody knows that this will also go up on my YouTube. I'm going to send it to you as well, so you can put it on your Facebook page, and it'll be on my website as well. So for the Dragon Hours
I
that
have a
I do.
YouTube channel as well, and it's
Oh
Jay's
yeah,
Angel Light.
on YouTube, right?
I'll post this on my YouTube channel if I can figure out how to upload it. I don't know. Sometimes it.
Well, I can do that. It's usually easy. I always say I can do the easy things. Anything that's too complicated technically, I'm always telling people that. Well, actually, Tammy had thought in the beginning, she was like, I can teach you, it's easy. And I'm like, I don't think so. I've got to that age where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to learn that. And then she was like, no, I'll show you. And then I almost, because I'm like, I got a little bit too confident. And then I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And she was like, could you just leave it alone now? Right. So, that's usually what happens to me. People think that I'm going to learn something, and then they're like, just leave it alone, just send it to me.
Yep.
That's the
So
safest.
yeah, so the gold light is, as we were talking, it's the golden age of awakening, and the gold light is here for us. You can use the gold light to heal you, clear you. It just does everything. So I like to do a golden light activation.
Sure, thank
So
you.
everybody, you can just get comfortable where you are, and you can remain sitting or you can lie down. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath. And I'd like you to see yourself in a beautiful white bubble of light. And this is your safe space. Now I'd like you to visualize a bunch of beautiful golden stars above you. And these are nice, big, poofy stars. And they're shimmering with their beautiful golden light. And now you see beams of gold light coming out of the gold stars, coming down to you, forming a big bubble of gold light right above your head. Now we're going to bring this gold light down into your body. So just visualize, feel, see, sense, however you see things, the gold light coming into your body, into your crown chakra. And you may feel different sensations with the gold light coming into your body. Just breathe through them. You might feel hot, cold, tingling. Just let the gold light come down your head, down your arms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. And you may feel your fingertips tingling. And then just feel the gold light coming back up your arms, back into your torso. You may feel the light spinning in different directions. The light may stop. If you see or sense or feel the light stop, it just means you have a block there or you need extra healing there. So the gold light's going to go in and clear out your blocks or give you healing in the area that you need. You can also send the gold light to any area of your body that you like and just watch it expand and expand and expand. Now the gold light's moving down your torso, down about where your stomach is. Now it's moving into your lower torso. And when it gets to your legs, the gold light will split in two and go down each one of your legs. You tend to store a lot of toxins down in the bottom part of your legs and your feet, so you might feel more energy moving there. I know the first time I brought the gold light into my body, I really felt it in the lower half of my legs. And then when gold light has gone all the way to the tips of your toes, you're just going to send the gold light back up through your body, up out of the top of your head very quickly. And now the gold light's just going to shower like a fountain around you and shower you with beautiful golden stardust sprinkles. And whenever you're ready, you can come back to your body if you loved. And you can take a nice deep breath and open your eyes.
That was nice.
How was it? Did you feel it?
Yes, I could feel it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
I felt it more sort of. Often I feel heat, but recently I've been feeling more like cold going through me.
Yeah. So you can, it's very quick to bring the gold light into your body every day. The gold light will raise your vibration and your frequency. It also activates your light body so that you can carry more light. And, it is the path of golden ascension.
Yes, yeah, and we certainly need that. We need to bring in more light, especially with
Mm.
the days ahead. That we're
Yeah.
gonna. It's getting dark. Well, here it was like 4:30, and it was dark.
Dark already. Yeah. And
Yeah,
and my team has told me that they would like everybody to bring the gold light into their body every day.
yeah.
Um, I've been doing
So
that for quite a while now. Yeah.
right, and I think whatever you do, whatever meditation you do or grounding, you can always just ask for that to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's so quick and it's so
it
easy.
is.
And
Yeah,
and then now it's anchored permanently in me. I
right,
don't even really feel like I have to bring it in anymore because it's
right.
just,
Yes, yeah.
it's eventually it'll anchor permanently.
Yeah, that happened to me with when I hadn't, like I said earlier, I didn't realize that I was a channel. But when I'd asked the dragons about why do I connect so easily to channel, they said it was the work I'd been doing, which was grounding. And I'm a Pisces, so I tend to be a bit out there.
Yeah.
So I had literally for several years had done very deep grounding, and they told me that the deeper you ground yourself each day, the higher frequencies you can reach. So, like you said, that you just keep doing it and keep doing it.
Mhm.
And I've now been told I don't need to do it every day. Every now and again, sometimes I have to ground myself. But because I'd done that and had anchored myself in, and I used to have to, I called them stabilizers as well. So not only did I put my roots down, but I had to put out stabilizers. But then I was like, that makes sense that if you're deeper anchored into Mother Gaia, then you
Mhm.
can access higher frequencies. And I think that's what's happening with us. Not only we're ascending, that a lot of us are finding that we need to be grounded here, which allows us to do the work then. It's almost like tethering yourself in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've received more information for working with the gold light. Of course, I haven't made a video or done an event on this yet, but the second step then is bringing the gold light into your diamond center and then letting it go through your body and out the bottom of your feet. And you're sending that gold light all the way down to the center of Mother Gaia, and it's going to help just anchor it in. So I've been
Yes.
doing that as well now. So when I'm grounding, yeah, I'm sending the light down to Mother Gaia.
And you can,
She needs our
right,
healing.
she does. And it as it goes down and you like feel that, you can bring it up and out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But you're right.
that's
Yeah, it's a bit like cleaning your teeth. I always say it's like that. Oh, I can't leave. Oh, I need. What haven't I done? And I used to feel like, oh, I can't go anywhere unless I've grounded.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I like to go outside. I like to sit at the beach and ground, or I sit outside and put my feet and do a little bit of earthing, and I do my little morning
yes, yeah,
energy routine that I do every day, and I like to do that outside in the sun and have my
yeah.
feet on the ground, and then I ground and
Well, yeah. At least. So, what's the? I mean, when it gets to 60, you think it's like freezing in Florida, don't you? When it's
yeah,
60
and
degrees, you
it's
think it's.
supposed to be that this weekend, Saturday, we're
Oh,
getting,
is it?
they said at night it's supposed to go all the way down to 40, and I'm like, oh, no, now I gotta find my flannel jammies.
Oh, I know. Is it? And
Put
it
an
isn't
extra
it when.
blanket on my bed. I even have, when I moved from California, from Tahoe area to here, I mean, that was the snow, and the last load of stuff I had, I just kind of stuffed it in my trailer and used it for empty spots. And I thought when I got here, I would just whatever, donate it, get rid of it, whatever. And it was my electric blanket and my all my fleecy jammies, because that's what I was wearing. It was cold when I left there. And
Yeah,
now, you know what? I pulled that electric blanket out. I put it on my bed in the winter because sometimes it's just too cold.
I know. I know. Oh, I was just thinking. I'm in Massachusetts, so we've already had. Well, we've had more frost this year,
Mm,
but it's all. We've had it very hot, and we're in a drought situation. I mean, what they're saying, if we don't get rain this week, I mean, we're already on red alert. We've got wildfires. I mean, I've lived here for 33 years. I've never heard anybody talk about wildfires or red alert. And we keep getting these warnings that, there's high winds and we've had no rain. So where the other parts of the country were being flooded, and Florida, and we have had nothing.
And in the Carolinas, that was horrible.
The Carolinas, we up here in the Northeast have had nothing, and it's never been. I mean, we're breaking records for how little rain we've had. So, and that
we have had no rain since Hurricane Milton hit. Of course, I still see flooded spots when I'm driving around, and because there was just so much water here. I've been very lucky through both hurricanes, and my house did not sustain any damage or just minor damage outside,
Yeah. Yeah. So where are you in Florida?
I'm in Southwest Florida. It's probably like about an hour south of Tampa, and I'm right on the Gulf.
Right. So the nice warm water in the Gulf.
Yes.
Yes.
But like not this summer that we just had, but a year ago, the water got so hot, even down in the Keys, it was over 100 degrees.
Yes.
Water.
Yeah.
And a lot of the coral reefs started dying.
Yes.
It was a big problem. Yeah, I mean, the water gets so warm here. It's like you don't even get in to cool off. It's just you get in to get wet. I mean, if the water was so hot, not this summer, but last summer, it was like a bathtub. And I'm like, it doesn't even feel good.
No, the
water, I think, got up into the high 90s here.
Yeah.
It didn't get as hot as down in the Keys, but I've never heard of ocean water being over 100 degrees. It's just so interesting what's going on with our weather.
It is, because here, we grow, I had summer flowers, and it got so hot that they died. I mean, you couldn't keep them alive because it was too hot for a long period, that they just died. And everybody was saying the same thing. It was like by the time end of July, everything just went, because they couldn't stand the heat, because they're small roots. So I've had like nothing, and everything's just drying up. It's all like really dry. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's really unusual for us to have that, but it's like the whole climate, every now and again everything shifts, right? It's like we seem to get, and I've got family still in England, and it seems like whatever we have here on the East Coast then goes across to England, and they've had like periods of not having rain, and it's like it is interesting, but it's also scary, I think, that because I jokingly used to say when I first moved here, and we would have some hot days, I would be like, listen, I didn't move here. I would have moved to Florida if I wanted this heat and humidity. And I used to say, Florida's going to come here, and I think it's arrived.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see the changes going on the planet.
Yeah. There's a lot of shifting of everything. Yeah. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that people check out your website. And I was just thinking, we might have to rope Dina into doing something with us, because I've just done, because that's how I met you, through Dina.
Yeah, and I met Dina through light language. We were in a light language Zoom fun thing, and we both realized we recognized each other's light language dialect. And so after we got off of that, we were like, oh my gosh. And that's how I met Dina.
Yeah. So I've done a couple of, Dina and I did, just the two of us. We had a small group of people where she read her art. She did messages through art, and I did the oracle readings. And then we had V joined us last month, and the three of us did different channel messages for a small group, so up to 12. So that was fun. So Dina's always looking for something. She's like, we'll have to do that again. So it is fun, actually, because it was interesting that we were all doing a reading for the same person.
And three different things.
Using different things, but getting very similar. Or I kept mine, because it wasn't just using my Oracle deck, it was they kept telling me I had other Oracle decks in the drawer, and they kept getting me, no, you need that other deck that's in the drawer. You need that other deck. And I'm like, look, I've got all these decks out. And they were like, no, we want that one. But it was, not only was it fun, but the people also felt that they got, and we did a couple for people that couldn't make it, and they were blown away by what we picked up and just saying, we're doing this reading for this person. So,
Yeah.
and it's all channeled. So,
it is.
Yeah, that's what's fun. But again, thank you for joining me. And
Thank
I'm
you
glad
for
that
inviting me. It was so much fun.
I know you were like, oh, I wasn't sure if I wanted. So I'm glad you didn't. And I hope the weather doesn't get too cold for you. We've got a cold snap, but
yeah, you can keep your cold weather. I live in Florida because I want it warm.
I know.
I mean, I did the
Everyone's
snow for so many years and I love it, but yeah, now I'm ready to go lay on the beach.
I know. So I'm going to just stop the recording.